right? 911, it's emergency, right? We show up and I'm digging through the trash and I thought, oh, he ate a bunch of blueberries, he'd be fine, right? Give him a couple days. The point is he couldn't digest, we can't absorb, we can't use that many, right? Even oranges, I think somebody said, right? Almost 300 and almost 400 oranges a day, right? In order to get the amount of free radicals needed, right, to mitigate this. And let me just show you real quick, because I think this is the essence of what we're doing.
That would kill a diabetic.
Right? If we had a free radical that was missing something, an antioxidant is designed to give away what's missing. And I was trying to explain this one time, and I had a doctor that said, let me give it to you, let me give it to you firefighters so you can understand it, right? The doctors know they have to dumb it way down for us to understand it. He said, put 10 boys in a padded room, okay? And he said padded, so I knew something was coming. He said, but only put in 9 basketballs. What's going to happen?
They're going to fight.
9 balls, 10 boys. I got 6 kids. If I have 5 of anything, right, what's going to happen?
Fight.
Right? Someone's missing something. So, right, if I'm the one missing, okay, then what happens? We start sizing up the room. Says, all right, I think I can get yours, right? And we go out and I get my ball. Now you're missing one, and then you get yours. And the process in which that is taken away to make them happy and creating unhappiness with another imbalance, that cycle is what causes oxidative stress. Okay? I'm going to write something else. Oxidative stress is the damage that is caused from that process. So if we can get rid of it, right, it's one thing. So antioxidants was the idea that we could give a basketball to the room of boys and then they stop fighting. Okay? The problem is there's so many rooms that we can't physically eat enough basketballs, if that makes sense, right? So these doctors started showing me that the math just doesn't work, and we've been teaching it for years. I mean, I actually taught a class for the fire department. It was built into the core strength fitness program, the nutritional program, and we talked about how many antioxidants can you do. And this is what we did. How many of these can you physically eat in a day, and what can we do to reduce this? So we had a 4-day class wrapped around how do you reduce free radicals? The things you eat, the things you drink, the things you smoke, the places you live, the things you breathe. I mean, we went into some detail. We have firefighters running into burning buildings without any air tanks on, trying to teach them why that's not tough. Right? Well, I put a handkerchief on and we're good, right? Old school fires, all wood, a little bit different. Nowadays, if you light a house on fire, what's burning in there?
Chemicals.
Plastic and chemicals, and it's black and it's ugly, right? It's bad. I mean, one big whiff of that without air, it's bad. We have firefighters that the cancer rate and everything's increasing because of that. So we're helping it by doing this, right? Let's change some of those things. Let's try to increase this. The problem is that's a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, it takes one of those to fight one of those, and that's why we'd have to have so many oranges or so many blueberries, and it's just not physically possible. So that's kind of the problem, right? And what's nice about this is you can go to pubmed.gov. It's a great resource. One of those places that we were allowed to go as medics and do research. Okay, we couldn't just go to Google and look something up and come to your house, right? Can you imagine putting on a pair of gloves, walking over to your house? Hey, hold still for a second. I just read something on the internet. I'm gonna try it, see if it works, right? I mean, you would instantly be, wait a minute, what internet, right? Where'd you read it at? There's too many good and bads. We have to learn to sift and sort through all that. But going to PubMed was one of those locations we could go to and get some valid information, okay? Some peer-reviewed information. And I remember some of the patients I took in, and I would ask the doctor, what'd you give them and why and what was going on? And one of them sent me, hey, just go to PubMed and I'll look this up and you can look it up yourself, right? But I love the fact that when I heard that, I went to PubMed. When you type in oxidative stress in PubMed, has anyone done that recently? How many articles are on there now?
150,000 or 57,000 or something?
157, I think?
Something like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's close to that. When I first did this, there was 71,000 articles back in 2009, okay? About February of 2009, about 72,000 articles. The world has increased that research to over 157. They've doubled that, more than doubled that information. Okay, and if you start reading, you guys, that increase, right, those free radicals lead to hundreds and hundreds of disease states. They're connected and tied together. And that isn't, we're not talking protandem, and we're not, we can't use the word treat, cure, diagnose. That's not what protandem is designed for. But we can talk about the world's research and what they have found with free radicals, and oxidative stress. So if you have that little bit of background, when we started seeing this, do we have an eraser up here? I'll use one of these. So when we got to this chart, when we saw this bit of information, where there was 20-year-olds to 80-year-olds, and their blood was tested, okay? And they charted the amount of oxidative stress that they had based on their age, and they started charting this. And it ended up being this age-related increase. The older they were, the higher their oxidative stress levels were. Okay, now here's what I don't think most people know. Dr. McCord told us at one of the first meetings we went to, is that a lot of these people, what do you think they were taking?
Vitamins.
Tons of antioxidants.
Yeah.
He did surveys, he measured how much they were taking far more than was recommended, and their oxidative stress levels remained the same. Okay? The one-on-one basketball concept was not working. It was not reducing it, and this increase is what leads to over 200 diseases. That's the oxidative stress increase that we could go verify on PubMed. PubMed.gov, great place to go do some research. So this is how simple this was for me, guys, and I hope this makes sense, because as a medic, this is what I got passionate about. Was after taking Protandim, right, 30 days after, all of them came down to they dropped about an average of 40%, and they ended up where you would see a 20-year-old, right? The baseline of a 20-year-old is where they ended up at, okay? Now, on an average, but it was neat. When you start seeing, I mean, put yourself in this room. What if you were 35 years old, and you took the product and you stayed on the product forever? What would happen if we never had to deal with this? That was my question. That's what I got excited about. What would happen to the world if we could get everyone on this to bring this down and not have to worry about that anymore? Right? We know what it leads to. Because I had over 200 people die in my arms from those problems. There's some memories in there that I probably need to get out somewhere. They're in there. I mean, just things happening, right? Little kids, big kids, I mean, old people, dementia and Alzheimer's, and you start getting through the list of those problems, and they're very connected. What if we could change that a little bit? Okay? We were trying to with antioxidants, but what were antioxidants doing? Not a lot, right? I'm sure they were helping in the bloodstream and helping us to eat a little better and keeping our weight under control. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying don't eat blueberries, or that's not the point, right? We probably need all of those as well. But taking Protandim every day did make a positive change. They put that same product into a skincare line, right? What's the largest organ in the human body?
The skin.
Our skin. And they found out if you could put it on your skin and let it soak in from the outside in, we could help from the inside out and the outside in. Okay, they put it in a product for our dogs. They started testing dogs, and the dog's baseline was almost 5 or 6 times higher than humans before they started the baseline drawing blood when they did the canine studies, right? What's a dog year to a human year?
7 years.
Right? Any relation? Maybe, right? You know, all of this is slowly coming together. Go to PubMed now and type in Protandim, right? What do you get?
16, 17 studies?
Right, 16, 17 studies. There's been more than that you can find. But now we have information validating this. There's some were Petri dish studies, some were mammalian studies with mice, some were human studies. We got them all mixed in. We went through the gamut of testing, and I love it because everyone that comes out seems to validate the ones that have already taken place. Very, very confident in what we have as a product. Now, when we started, we only had this study showing that it dropped, and that's the information we took out, you guys. That was it. We started running out to the world saying, let's bring this down. What's going to happen when we do? Well, I'll tell you what, my grandma called me in 3 days. It seems like the older people were, the faster I got a phone call. Have you guys had that happen? The younger ones, if they go from here to here, they notice it, but it seems to take a little while. The ones that have issues and they're up here, they feel that drop. I'm excited, but what happens if we just do that all the time? Right? Let's start here, and then let's get everyone we can on this so we can avoid as much of that as possible. So keep that in mind just a little bit, because I think that's the basis of what we're talking about. The reason it's working is because Protandim works completely different than antioxidants do. It's proven, it's been tested, it's been shown. We have ways of validating that, and that concept's been put out there. We've also added some concept in the energy arena. We've added those concepts in the weight management arena, this new Nerf 1 is a completely new concept that you'll love when you find out where it fits into this whole thing. And what's still coming will continue to fit in the rest of the puzzle pieces. It's pretty cool. We've been excited. So because of what I saw there, I was able to move on personally. I looked at, my wife and I did it today, I think we looked at 15 companies and turned them down, and over half of them, we didn't get past that step. Okay? And I won't name the companies, but I'll just tell you 15 times we were either in the CEO's office, in a meeting just like this, on the phone with one of their top leaders, something, and thank you, I have enough information, I will not be doing this, sorry. Because I couldn't check off the boxes. I would literally walk in and I would rank these 1 to 10, and when I got done after looking at LifeVantage, they were all there. And product, even because it had more studies than I thought, it had research and studies, it was on PubMed, it had things that I never even thought the industry could have. Okay, so for those that have, at least on the product, and I just want you to know we're confident, it's one of my passions, it's one of the reasons I'm here, is because we went to the next steps because of that. Now let's run through these real quick. The second thing we looked at was the company itself. All right, the company, I'm just going to put, okay, the company was publicly traded. Now to me that was, because of some past history and stuff, that was a huge benefit to be able to visually see and have the transparency of a publicly traded company. Good or bad, we could evaluate and look at the company's financials, the decisions they made, the money they've been making. It was no longer a company telling us, hey, we did $1 billion last year, you know, or whatever number, and then you really find out it was 300 million or something different, right? There was no way of validating, but being public, we had actual numbers that we could go look at and validate and verify and see the direction and the choices they wanted to make. And so I love that. Plus, we looked at it, it was about $3.5 million, right, in 2009 on an average. And then we got to watch what took place after we transitioned out of the retail market, okay, into a network marketing market. Now, here's the value of this story. If you can kind of picture this, a product being on a shelf at GNC or one of these health food places, right? What information do you get off that bottle? The company basically buys a 2-inch piece of real estate, literally, right, up on a shelf. You put a bottle up there. Well, the bottle, you guys remember the old bottles, look like medicine bottles, the little brown bottles, and it said improved cellular aging on it. Okay, so you had to walk by, see a little bottle that said improved cellular aging, that was $50, right, 45, 50 bucks, and buy it thinking, I mean, and usually it was in a section with buckets of vitamin C for $16, right? Because they thought it was an antioxidant, but it doesn't work the same. It's a new category, but they just kept trying to put it into these other categories. It wasn't working in that arena. So after we made that change, we knew the product was good. We looked at this. I mean, it went to 11 million. It went to almost 40 million. Went to 128 million. We got to watch the company grow and grow and grow. And what did we do different? We didn't change the formulation, right? Company didn't change even the price. They actually took it out and made it 40 bucks, right? I think it should be a lot higher. People were buying it for more. I think they sold it to GNC for probably 40, and it was being sold by them for 50. But I think we're closer to that kind of product. You guys, we just started rolling. We didn't change anything but how we talked about it. We started doing this, and it's not perfect, right? But it's a lot better than the information you would get from the GNC manager, right? I actually did it one time. I walked into GNC. The manager was looking at a magazine, put the magazine down, took the headphones out. It wasn't some vitamin magazine, right? In fact, they're just wasting time is getting paid minimum wage. And I said, do you have Protandim? He said, oh yeah, let me look it up. Oh yeah, aisle 6 or whatever it was. He went down the aisle, he got it off the shelf. He said, oh yeah, this is an amino acid. It's made to build muscle. Then he tried to sell it to me, right? I remember thinking, man, 3.5 million, they're doing good. I was wondering why they weren't doing good, and then I realized that they're getting lucky at 3.5 million. Because the world does not know what Protandim is or does. They did for one night when ABC Primetime aired live, right? That's the only time people got to understand a little bit more.